The astounding Parisian magician Alexander Herman shocks audiences with his pulse-stopping trick as early as 1880. Herman the Great was part of a world-renowned magic dynasty. They dominated vaudeville stages on both sides of the Atlantic for almost a century. Resurrecting magic like this takes perseverance and a passion for discovering secrets of the conjuring arts.
Steve Cohen is dedicated to seeking out historical magic effects, finding out whether they're real or fables, and then reinterpreting and possibly resurrecting these great old effects.
Steve will stretch his limits and the limits of magic, decoding 4 of the most thrilling illusions in history. The first of the effects is known as the most baffling illusion of all time. It is called the Turk. No one, not Napoleon Bonaparte, Benjamin Franklin, nor Edgar Allan Poe, could decode how it worked. The story of the Turk begins in 1769, at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution. In Vienna, an inventor named Wolfgang von Kempelen unveils for the ruling Habsburg Empress the most astounding technological innovation the world has ever seen. That magical moment is depicted in this 1927 silent film. Von Kempelen enters the court, which is packed with noblemen, scientists, and the upper echelon of Viennese society. He introduces his strange and exotic object.
It was a wooden figure. It was dressed in Turkish garb, because that was how Europeans thought conjurers ought to look at the time, and it sat essentially attached to a wooden chest with a chessboard on the top, and it could all be wheeled around in one piece. It had casters underneath.
He then proceeded to show that the cabinet had a variety of doors in it, and you could open these in turn and display the interior of the cabinet, where you could see some mechanism, but obviously no sign of any individual concealed inside it.
Von Kempelen announces that his mechanical Turk will magically defeat all comers in a game of chess. He asks for the court's most superior intellect to come forward to challenge the Turk.
He gets a volunteer from the audience, a courtier called Kobensel. He puts all the chess pieces on the board. Kobensel makes his move, and the Turk starts making a whirring noise, and its arm springs to life. It reaches forward, it moves its piece. Everyone is amazed. They cry out in surprise. The Turk goes on to be a very fast and capable chess player and beats Kobensel within the space of a few minutes.
News of the chess-playing thinking machine spreads fast, and the most powerful and influential people in the world, including Ben Franklin, match wits with the Turk. But the Turk's most famous opponent is Napoleon Bonaparte. Fresh from conquering Europe, the emperor decides to challenge the Turk head-on.
Napoleon thought he was an extremely good chess player, and he wanted to see how it would respond if you made a false move.
Napoleon intentionally makes an illegal move to his advantage.
The Turk swept its arm across the board and knocked all the pieces off.
The audience recoils in fear. Who or what is this being that dares to get angry at the most powerful military leader in the world?
I think that it probably scared people as much as it entertained them. Just as though if it were to happen today, if somebody were to announce tomorrow that a machine could outthink the greatest scientists or mathematicians in the world, I think people would be terrified of it.
How the illusion works becomes an obsession. Hundreds of pamphlets and books claiming to reveal the Turk's methods are published.
The most popular theories were those that suggested there was someone or something hiding inside. So there was said to be a chess-playing monkey stuck inside this machine. Another theory was that there was a legless war veteran, and this explained how he was able to fit in such a tiny space, because clearly there wasn't much room for anyone to be hiding in there.
Even Edgar Allan Poe publishes a theory of how the Turk works in 1836. His pamphlet is widely regarded as the prototype for his first detective stories. But before the Turk is ever decoded, it is destroyed by fire in 1854. Along with its secrets, the Turk is lost to the world. Present-day Los Angeles. Steve is following up on a clue. According to Magic Insiders, somewhere in the City of Angels, an illusionist is said to have breathed new life into the Turk.
Steve, over the years, I always wondered, how did that thing work? What was the illusion?
John Gone is one of the finest illusion builders who ever existed. And based in Los Angeles, he has recreated and devised some wonderful pieces of equipment.
In my room here, I have many pieces of automata and automata-like effects that I've gotten over the years. And I started off by repairing these for magicians, and you could see how clever they were made. It's fascinating to see the man who made it, to try to get into his head to what he was doing.
That's what actually fascinates me is it seems to me that you're almost like a mind reader. Like you have to think about how other magicians or builders would have thought.
Some of the motors and the mechanisms are very crude, but the ideas are great. And so you try not to compromise the original builder's ideas by putting your own in there. You want to keep it as original as possible.
John Gone's greatest passion has been decoding von Kempelen's design of the Turk.
I had made mock-ups of the chess player, and as my skills as a builder of illusions progressed, I tried to use them on the Turk in that cabinet. And sure enough, things came to life.
Some of the early pictures of the Turk were probably drawn by Kempelen himself, so you can use them as pretty accurate engineering drawings.
It turns out that von Kempelen was a very clever person, and there are principles of illusion inside that cabinet that we thought were invented, let's say, 100 years later.
John Gone has demonstrated his replica of the Turk before, but it has never played a live chess match in the United States. Until now. Almost 200 years since defeating some of the greatest minds in the world, the Turk has a new challenger, Grand Chess Master Andranik Matakosian.
I'm professional chess player and professional chess coach.
He is the three-time Southern California chess champion.
What you're about to witness is a chess match between a man and a machine.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Turk. We start by opening this door. As you can see, beautiful machinery in there, the pin barrels.
Following the original unveiling by von Kempelen, John Gone exposes the Turk's machinery to the audience.
It's all the way through, all the way to the back. Now, let me rotate this all around. I will show you the doors back here under his cloak, his other doors.
Gone opens all the cabinet doors to show that there could be no one inside.
And again, nothing but machinery.
Chess is a game of strategy. One of the biggest tests of skill is to start a game in the middle with a situation already in place. This is called an endgame. John Gone asks the master to choose his endgame from a book of 250 options. Matikosian chooses his challenge and sets the board.
Okay.
He will be red, and the Turk will be white. With a turn of the crank, John Gone gives life to the Turk. In Lost Magic Decoded, magician Steve Cohen is tracking down 4 of the most amazing illusions in history, decoding them and attempting to bring them back to life. In the 18th century, at the dawn of the Industrial Revolution, there is one magic effect that stands above all the rest. The Turk, a mechanical man that can play chess against a human opponent and win. Magician Steve Cohen has found an illusionist in modern-day Los Angeles who's built an astonishing replica of the Turk. His name is John Gone, and he's invited an audience of 20 to his studio for the first professional match between the Turk and a chess master since 1838.
See the Turk actually come to life for the first time in hundreds of years. I know that the entire audience, along with myself, was ready to just gasp as the hand lifted up, grabbed one of the pieces, and then moved it to the right place.
The Turk has made his opening move with his knight. He invites the master to join the match. The master quickly takes the Turk's queen with his rook. The Turk counterattacks by snatching the master's rook and putting him in check. The master is on the run. He moves his king out of check. The Turk considers his options. He puts the master in check again with his knight.
In check.
The master avoids defeat, but the Turk corners him once again with his knight and his rook.
That's your only move.
But the master isn't finished yet, and his bishop takes the Turk's rook. With just 2 of his pieces left on the board, the Turk brilliantly traps the master's king.
And that is checkmate.
Checkmate. It was very beautiful checkmate at the end. It's Turk sacrificed a queen and then rook. Looks like a strong grandmaster playing. It's really mystery to me. Turkey is a strong player.
I saw with my own eyes that there was nothing inside. The machine worked and it was able to beat a human being.
Hundreds of years ago, anyone seeing this would think it was pure magic, if not witchcraft, because what's the other possibility?
What I love about the Turk is that it inspires some very, very different inventions. The Turk played against Charles Babbage in London in 1819, and Babbage was a mathematician, and it gets Babbage thinking about mechanical computers, and they're then the ancestors of today's computers. And then there's even a British engineer called Cartwright. He doesn't even see the Turk, but he hears about it, and he thinks, well, if you could build a machine to play chess, it must be pretty easy to build a machine to automate weaving. And so the Turk has these amazing technological offspring.
In a way, it's somewhat petrifying to think that life can be given, or apparent life can be given, to an object
In the movie 2001, there's a computer called Hal, and Hal plays chess, and this is an amazing connection with the Turk. We will build machines and they will eventually become more powerful than us, and we will live to regret it. And that story has just been told time and time again, the people who are outwitted by their own machines.
As for the secrets of how the Turk works, only one man really knows.
I spent 35 years trying to find it out, and I'm not going to tell you today.
Magician Steve Cohen's signature illusion in his parlor performance suggests another object that can think for itself.